30 powerful words of affirmation to attract wealth. Always speak them when you sleep and when you wake up, and you will see money coming into your life in surprising ways. What you say with your mouth shapes what you experience with your body, and what you think, repeat, and feel every day transforms your reality, even if you don't consciously realize it. For a long time, you may have repeated phrases of scarcity such as, "Money is hard to come by," "I don't have any," "I never have any left," "I can't afford it." And you didn't even realize how these words have become the invisible foundation of your financial life. These seemingly harmless phrases are actually continual affirmations that reinforce the lack of money, and like any habit, they take deep root. But just as a negative phrase has power, a positive phrase, when repeated with intention, feeling, and consistency, has even greater power. The mind works by repetition, and what you repeatedly put into it, it transforms into a silent action plan, an autopilot that begins to lead you precisely in the direction of what you affirm. This means that if you start saying words of wealth, even if it seems strange at first, little by little, your mind begins to adapt to the new reality. And over time, you begin to notice that money begins to arrive in different, unexpected, natural ways. There's a time of day when the mind is most open to receiving new programming, right after waking up and before bed. These two moments are like open gates between the conscious and subconscious. What you say at this time goes straight to the deepest part of the brain, where beliefs, patterns, and automatic behaviors are stored. In other words, if you repeat words of wealth at these times every day, you'll plant seeds that will inevitably germinate in the form of better attitudes, ideas, decisions, and financial results. Before continuing with the teachings, make sure you've already hit the like button, but only do this if you truly want to attract wealth into your life. This simple gesture strengthens your resolve to change. And if you want to seal your commitment to wealth, say it out loud or write in the comments, "I am ready to prosper." Now think with me, how many times a day do you mindlessly repeat words? What if, instead, you started using words that represent the richness you desire to experience? Words are like commands, and when those commands are positive, powerful, and consistent, you begin to align your mind with the best. The mind doesn't resist repetition. It doesn't argue with you. It simply obeys what you say consistently and emotionally. That's why I've selected 30 words that carry the energy of wealth. They were chosen because they activate in different parts of the brain feelings of worth, value, strength, abundance, openness, growth, structure, and action. And even if you don't understand this logically now, just start using them every day when you wake up and before you go to sleep. Make this a personal commitment, and most importantly, feel what you're saying. Speak with conviction. Close your eyes, take a deep breath. Imagine a prosperous life. Feel the thrill of freedom, security, tranquility, and choice. And then pronounce each word with intention. Here they are: wealth, abundance, prosperity. I receive, I deserve, trust, freedom, success, gratitude, I multiply, fluidity, joy, security, expansion, focus, growth, potency, certainty, power, achievement, appreciation, order, discipline, honor, result, ease, attractiveness, clarity, destiny, fulfillment. Each of these words represents a piece of a puzzle that, when assembled, reveals a balanced, growing, and rich financial life. By saying "I multiply," you activate within yourself the power to do more with what you already have. By repeating "order," your mind begins to seek organization and structure. By saying "success," you open yourself to recognizing and repeating what works. By affirming "gratitude," you shift your focus from lack to the abundance that already exists. And all this begins to happen in your mental realm before it appears in your external reality. This is how the transformation process begins. First, you think differently. Then you act differently. Finally, money begins to respond to your new frequency, because money doesn't respond to desperation. It responds to clarity, to worthiness, to willingness. These powerful words are like codes. They help you break the cycle of scarcity and open your mind to the flow of money. But for it to work, you have to persist. It has to be every day, when you wake up and before you go to sleep, even when it seems repetitive, even when it seems like nothing is changing, because the change is happening within, silently, deeply, and constantly. Use these words like seeds. Repetition is planting, and the habit of always planting at the same time, at the same strategic moments, bears fruit. It's not magic. It's habit. It's reprogramming. It's the mind learning to thrive. When you start the day saying confidence, certainty, power, your mind responds with firmer decisions. When you end the day saying, "I receive," appreciation, fulfillment, you sleep with a sense of worth activated. This changes your vibrational pattern. It reorganizes your frequency. This begins to attract people, ideas, situations, and opportunities that you previously didn't even notice. Because before your mind was focused on what was missing, now it will be programmed for what is coming. Little by little, you'll notice changes. Money comes in unexpectedly. An idea that seems simple but leads to a different result. An invitation that brings a return. A conversation that opens a door. This is the answer to your new programming. So the recommendation is, write these 30 words on a piece of paper. Leave them next to your bed. Read them aloud when you wake up. Read them again before bed. Close your eyes. Imagine. Feel. Allow yourself to enter the atmosphere of wealth. Make this your moment, a prosperity ritual. And if you want to increase the power of these words, add complete sentences like, "I am worthy of abundance. Money comes to me easily. I create and multiply wealth every day." Mix, invent, adapt. What matters is that the feeling is true. You need to see yourself rich first in your mind and then experience it in the physical world. Money is a consequence of your internal programming, and programming begins with words. If you've made it this far, it's because your mind is ready for more. And now that you've learned these words, use them. Don't just keep it as knowledge, apply it, turn it into practice. Try it for 21 days. See what happens. And if you want to commit to this new cycle, write in the comments, "I choose to reprogram my mind for wealth." This isn't just a phrase, it's a decision. Now that you know the 30 words and understand how repeating them affects your mind, we need to delve deeper into something even more important: how you feel about these words. There's a big difference between repeating them for the sake of repeating them and affirming them with emotion, with intention, with truth. The human mind is very sensitive to what is experienced with feeling. It records, reinforces, and acts on what is felt strongly. Therefore, what will determine whether these words truly transform your financial life is the emotional presence you place on them every day. Imagine someone saying, "I have wealth," in a hollow voice, with their body slumped as if in disbelief. Now imagine someone else saying, "I have wealth," with their eyes closed, chest open, face serene, with a slight smile and a confident posture. Even if the phrase is the same, the effect on the speaker's mind and energy field is completely different. What transforms the word into power is the internal state of the one who says it. So here's a powerful exercise you can do with these 30 words. Every day when you wake up, stand or sit up straight. Take a few deep breaths. Feel the air coming in and out slowly. Place one hand on your chest and the other on your belly. Close your eyes, and out loud or mentally begin repeating the words, one by one. Take your time. Feel each one. Visualize. Imagine scenes from your life with more money. See details. How you dress, where you live, what you eat, who you hang out with, what places you frequent. And keep saying wealth, abundance, gratitude, fulfillment, focus, order, power. When you combine words with mental images and emotions, you directly impact your subconscious. And it's the subconscious that controls your life. It's not willpower. It's not forced positive thinking. It's not hope. What changes everything is what's rooted deep within your mind. And the only way to reprogram it is through consistency, repetition, presence, and emotion. By doing this before bed, you send a final message to your subconscious mind, which will work with this content throughout the night. Many people underestimate this power. They think it's just nonsense, superstition. But neuroscience has long shown that what you feed your mind before bed directly influences your emotional patterns, your mood, your decisions, and even how you act the next day. It's as if you planted a seed in the most fertile soil of the day and let it nurture itself while you sleep. Now, another fundamental point, these words aren't just pretty. Each one has a strategic function. For example, the word order triggers within you a need to organize your financial life. Those who repeat order every day begin to feel uncomfortable with chaos. They'll want to organize themselves, create structure, plan. And this, even without realizing it, begins to attract more money, because money likes organized places, clear minds, and clean paths. The word multiply works on your power to generate more from what you already have. When you connect with this word, your mind begins to find ways to turn a little into a lot, to turn an idea into income, to make better use of your resources. The word confidence is another essential key. Those who don't trust themselves don't allow themselves to prosper. Those who live expecting the worst, protecting themselves from everything, distrusting every opportunity, end up repelling money without realizing it. By repeating confidence frequently, you begin to open space to receive, to act, to try, to move, and that changes the game. Just like the word appreciation, which activates within you the recognition of your personal worth. And the more you value yourself, the more you begin to attract people, situations, and opportunities that value you too. The world responds to how you treat yourself internally. You might be wondering, but will simply saying these words really change my life? The answer is straightforward. No, it's not just about saying them. It's about saying them with meaning. It's about repeating them truthfully. It's about creating a new mental pathway, a new pattern, a new path through which money can flow. What these words do is change your frequency, and frequency changes behavior, and behavior changes results. So don't expect magic. Expect transformation. Slow, steady, progressive, but sure. If you've tried other things and haven't gotten anywhere, perhaps what you needed was just that. A new mental foundation. Because without this foundation, any external attempt becomes a hollow effort. And with this well-built foundation, even seemingly small things start to work. Change starts from the inside out, always. First, you feel prosperous. Then you act prosperous. And then the money comes, naturally. And remember, these words aren't for memorization, they're for living. Bring them into your daily life. Write them on your bathroom mirror. Put them on your phone's wallpaper. Leave a note in your wallet. Set a reminder on your alarm clock. Be creative. Make these words part of your routine. The more you see them, the more you remember. And the more you remember, the more you repeat. And the more you repeat, the more your mind changes. You can start right now. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath and say out loud or mentally, "Wealth, I allow, I receive, I live." Do this for 30 seconds. Repeat 3 more words that caught your attention. Feel, imagine, and allow. And if you want to further reinforce your commitment to your new mindset, write in the comments below, "I plant words of wealth every day." This is a way for you to publicly declare your intention, and everything that is declared with force grows stronger within you. Now that your mind has begun to be fed with new words, new commands, and new sensations, it's time to talk about what happens inside you when you repeat these affirmations frequently. There's a natural process that begins to take shape, even if you don't immediately notice it. This process is called reconnecting with your inner power to create your own reality. When you say words like wealth, power, expansion, confidence, you're not just saying something nice. You're activating a forgotten part of your brain that has been silenced by years of fear, comparison, shame, and scarcity. Most people grow up hearing that money is dirty, that only those who exploit others become rich, that it's difficult to earn a good living, that luck is for the few. These phrases are repeated throughout childhood, at school, in family conversations, and become ingrained in our minds as if they were absolute truths. The problem is that, over time, these ideas become the basis for our decisions. And worse, they become an identity. We begin to see ourselves as someone not cut out for it, as someone not born with a gift for money, as someone clumsy at prospering. But this is just mental programming, and all programming can be changed. If you've learned to think like a poor person, you can learn to think like a rich person. If you've been trained to survive, you can train your mind to thrive. And words are the first step in this training. It's with them that you begin to give different commands. It's with them that you begin to see yourself differently. The human brain has an incredible capacity called neuroplasticity. This means it can create new connections, new pathways, new ways of understanding the world. But it only does this when constantly stimulated, and you already know what that stimulus is: repetition with feeling. So don't underestimate the power of saying simple words like fulfillment, discipline, clarity, freedom, growth. These words, when spoken with presence, act like keys. Each one opens a door to new ideas, new feelings, new ways of behaving, and with that, new opportunities. As you repeat them, something begins to silently shift within you, and you feel it. You feel a different strength, a different presence, a more solid hope, a motivation that comes not from excitement, but from the awareness that you are in control of your mind. And there's more. When you move into this new mindset, you begin to see the world differently. What once seemed impossible now seems only a matter of time. What once frightened you now challenges you in a positive way. Your vision changes, your listening changes, your behavior changes, and this changes the results. It's as if you begin to walk streets that were previously invisible. The opportunities were always there, but your scarcity-programmed mind kept you from seeing them. Let's talk, for example, about the word "I deserve." How many times have you felt like you didn't deserve something good? How many times have you refused to accept a gift, a helping hand, a chance because you thought it wasn't the right time, that it wasn't for you, that it was too much? This is scarcity in disguise. Adds the effect of years of believing that wealth isn't your place, and when you start saying "I deserve" every day, with intention, with strength, with self-respect, your mind begins to correct this flaw. You begin to accept the best, to receive without guilt, to live without sabotaging yourself. The same goes for the word expansion. How many times have you felt trapped, limited, small? What if you started saying expansion every day? What would start to happen inside you? Your mind would begin to seek ways to escape the suffocation, to grow, to go further, to do more, to want more. And naturally, your actions would begin to reflect this. The mind is like soil. If you sow expansion, you cannot reap stagnation. The harvest always follows the seed. Now for something very important. When you repeat these words, you don't have to believe them 100% at first. It's normal for you to feel resistance the first few times, for an inner voice to say, "That's a lie. You're not like that. That won't work." This voice is your old programming trying to protect you from the new. It doesn't want to change because it learned to survive in the familiar, and everything new is scary. But you don't need to fight this voice. Just follow it. Continue. Persist. Over time, this voice will begin to diminish, and a new voice, the voice of wealth, will begin to grow within you. You can think of it this way. Every time you repeat a powerful word, you take a step out of scarcity, a step toward a new identity, an identity of someone who attracts, who deserves, who receives, who lives in abundance. And this isn't fantasy. This is practice. It's logic. It's construction. If you want to take it a step further, start observing which of these 30 words make you uncomfortable. Yes, uncomfortable. Some of them may touch on old wounds. Maybe success reminds you of failures. Maybe appreciation reminds you of everything you've ignored in yourself. Maybe order confronts you with the chaos of your current life. And that's okay. Don't run away from these words. Face them, because where it hurts is where it needs healing. And where it needs healing, it needs loving repetition. It needs presence. It needs reprogramming. Use these words as tools, as exercises, as anchors for a new life. Because deep down, what you're building is a new way of existing, one that aligns with wealth, with prosperity, with flow. And this doesn't depend on where you came from. It depends on where you're willing to go, and most importantly, on what you're willing to repeat every day. And if you feel you're ready for this next level, declare right now in the comments or out loud, "I am the creator of my new financial reality." You're taking charge, and everything changes from there. If you've made it this far, you've already taken the first most important steps in building a new consciousness. You've started taking ownership of your words. You've started observing your thoughts. And most of all, you've decided to plant a new seed in your mind. This in itself is a pattern break, because most people live trapped in circles of complaining, repeating negative phrases about money, without ever stopping to realize how much this fuels the very thing they want to avoid, scarcity. But now, it's time to elevate this process. Because repeating words isn't just a mental exercise, it's a daily identity training. When you say prosperity, you're telling your mind, "This is how I want to live." But the most powerful thing happens when you start acting like someone prosperous, even before you fully feel that way. There's a very true saying that needs to be clear to you. The mind believes what you repeat, but it believes even more what you demonstrate with your actions. Therefore, the words you use when you wake up and go to sleep must be accompanied by small daily gestures that confirm what you're saying. For example, if you say order but live in a mess without organizing your finances with hidden debts, you're creating a conflict between what you say and what you do, and this hinders your progress. But if you begin, even with small actions, to bring order to your life, by recording expenses, cleaning out your wallet, setting aside time to calmly examine your possessions, the word order gains strength. Your mind begins to understand that you're serious, that you're committing. The same goes for words like "I receive" or "I deserve." People often say these words, But when the opportunity to receive something arises, be it a compliment, a gift, or unexpected money, they reject it, minimize it, or think it's not for them. This too is an internal conflict. So as you repeat these words, observe how you react daily. Start allowing yourself to receive, even if it's a compliment, even if it's a small opportunity. Each time you accept what comes with gratitude and presence, you are teaching your mind that it is safe, possible, and natural to receive wealth. And it's important to remember that wealth isn't just about money. Money is an important part, yes, but wealth is also about relationships, peace of mind, free time, and freedom of choice. When you say wealth, you're activating a frequency where money is welcome, but it's not the only focus. You're saying to life, I accept everything that makes me grow, everything that expands me, everything that nourishes me in a comprehensive way. This lifts the weight, the obsession, the anxiety. And ironically, when you stop desperately seeking money, it starts to come more fluidly, because now you're aligned with the flow, not fighting against it. Another essential point is understanding that words like confidence, power, and freedom, when repeated truthfully, begin to dissolve what was preventing you from prospering. Often, what hinders a rich life isn't a lack of money, but a lack of self-confidence. The feeling that it's not possible, it's not for me, it's going to fail. And this doesn't change from the outside in. It changes with reprogramming. When you start repeating confidence every day, your mind begins to let go of that old insecure, fragile, sabotaging version and begins to give you a new attitude. You begin to speak differently, look differently, walk differently, act differently. And acting differently is essential, because the world responds to your stance. If you walk through life as a defeated person, the world responds with closed doors, with contempt, with a lack of opportunities. But when you walk with your head held high, even if you're just starting out, even if you don't have everything yet, even if you're taking your first steps, the world notices, the energy shifts, your presence begins to attract different things, people notice, opportunities appear, all because you decided to think differently, speak differently, act differently. And the foundation of all this are those powerful words you've been using daily. They're like silent fuel. They feed your soul. They strengthen your mind. They stabilize your emotions. And over time, they create a shield against the external voices that try to pull you back into scarcity. Because you'll hear them. You'll hear that it's nonsense, that it's pointless, that you're wasting your time. But only those who persist see results. Only those who sow with faith reap abundantly. Repeating these words daily needs to be protected. Make it a commitment to yourself. It doesn't matter if the day was difficult. It doesn't matter if nothing seems to be changing yet. Do it. Repeat it. Feel it. Trust the process. Trust is one of those words for a reason, because everything in life responds to consistency. And if you want to further strengthen your journey, here's a practical suggestion. Choose 5 of these words that resonate most with you. Write them down on a piece of paper. Carry them with you. Look at them throughout the day. Whenever you're tired, frustrated, or lost, read these words again. Take a deep breath. Bring your mind back in the right direction. This is mental discipline, and discipline is wealth. To further reinforce this practice, say now, out loud, firmly and truthfully, my mind is being programmed to attract wealth. Feel what this provokes in you. Let this phrase resonate. And if you want to leave a mark on this moment in your life, write in the comments, I act like someone rich, even before I have money. This sentence changes everything. Because true wealth begins before money. It begins with identity. When you start repeating these 30 words daily, intentionally and committedly, something profound begins to happen. Your identity begins to shift. And this is much more powerful than it seems. Because every decision you make today, what you buy, what you avoid, what you accept, what you refuse, where you spend time, who you hang out with, comes from an internal identity. Your identity is the set of ideas you have about yourself. And these ideas, more often than not, were put there by other people, at stages in your life when you didn't even know who you were yet. If you grew up hearing that money is hard work, that life is hard, that those who have money are different, that poor people are born poor and die poor, then it's natural that your mind has created an identity of scarcity, and this identity, even without you realizing it, controls your actions. You may even dream of wealth, but you'll continue to make decisions that require fear. You may even desire a freer lifestyle, but you'll continue to avoid risks, opportunities, and situations that require courage, precisely because your inner foundation doesn't yet support a new reality. Therefore, using powerful words isn't just about making you feel better, it's about breaking the pattern of your old identity and making room for a new one to emerge. And here's the secret. This new identity needs to be intentionally created. You won't become wealthy by accident. You transform yourself through the daily practice of thinking, feeling, and acting like a wealthy person. And this practice begins with your words, because words are the invisible bricks of your new inner construction. Let's talk about some of these words in more depth so you can better understand how to use them as identity tools. 1. Clarity. Those who live in confusion live in stagnation, and no one thrives in confusion. When you start repeating clarity, you're telling your mind it's time to clear the clutter, stop getting distracted, stop wandering down random paths. Clarity is knowing what you want. Clarity is knowing where you are. Clarity is knowing what to do. When you connect with this word, you begin to organize your thoughts, your decisions, your financial life, and the money starts flowing because now there's direction. 2. Power. Many live as if they were weak, as if they had to ask permission to prosper, but you don't need anyone's approval to be great. You need to activate your inner power. Repeating power every day makes the mind recover what has been silenced. You begin to realize that you can, that you have strength, that you have value, that you are capable of producing results. And this realization is the beginning of self-confidence. And self-confidence is the foundation for money to arrive consistently. 3. Expansion. Most people are accustomed to shrinking, to hiding, to living in fear of the next step, but life demands movement, growth, expansion. Repeating this word causes the mind to stop seeking security in the small and start seeking security in growth. Rich people are always expanding. Ideas, partnerships, vision, income. Those who live shrunken live stuck, and those who live stuck push wealth away. Repeating expansion is like saying to the universe, I'm ready to grow. 4. Value. If you don't value yourself, no one values you. If you demand little of yourself, the world gives little in return. Value is the foundation of everything. Repeating value every day teaches your mind to respect you. And when you respect yourself, you start saying no to what diminishes you. You start making better choices. You start taking care of what's yours. And money responds directly to this, because money likes those who value themselves. 5. Ease. This word might scare you at first, because you've been taught that everything has to be difficult, but it doesn't have to be. It can be lighter. It can be more direct. It can be more fluid. By repeating ease, you begin to release the weight of scarcity. You begin to realize that there are simple paths, that you don't have to suffer to gain, that you can do it intelligently, with ease, with clarity. This changes your relationship with money because it takes you out of survival mode and puts you in construction mode. These 5 words, when used frequently and with feeling, begin to shape a new way of seeing yourself. And the more you see yourself as rich, someone with clarity, power, expansion, appreciation, and ease, the more naturally you begin to make different decisions. It's not magic. It's identity under construction. It's a new mental system gaining strength within you. But there's one key point. You need to protect this new identity because the world will try to pull you back. People will show up telling you you're dreaming too big, that this isn't for you, that you're deluded. And worst of all, your old mind will also try to pull you back. It will tell you it's not working, that you're wasting your time, that it's all nonsense. And that's when you need to be firm. Repeat even more, feel even more, act even more. You don't need to convince anyone. You only need to convince yourself. And the only way to do that is with daily practice. So never fail to commit to repeating these words when you wake up and when you go to sleep. Make it a non-negotiable ritual. Set alarms on your phone. Create visual reminders. Record audio with your own voice. Do whatever it takes to keep the flame of your new identity alive, because once that flame grows, it never goes out. And if you want to make this even stronger today, say out loud now, I am becoming a person who thinks, feels, and acts like a rich person. Repeat this a few times. Feel what this phrase activates in you. And to strengthen this decision even further, write in the comments, my new identity is being built every day. Declare it. Own it. Honor it. Getting this far is no small feat. It's a lot of words, a lot of reflection, a lot of moments of contact with inner truths that, until recently, were hidden beneath the dust of routine, haste, fear, doubt, and a scarcity mindset. You've traveled a profound journey, and even if, at this moment, You haven't yet seen a complete transformation in your external world. One thing is certain, something within you has already changed. By repeating these words daily, you silently reprogrammed your mental patterns. Little by little, you created a new internal vocabulary, a new way of talking to yourself, a new way of thinking and feeling, and this, over time, transforms into new habits, and habits shape your results. Wealth begins in the mind, passes through behavior, and finally manifests in reality. Perhaps at some point along this journey you've asked yourself, does all this really make a difference? The answer lies in consistency. Nothing changes overnight, but everything begins to change the day you decide not to stop. The mind doesn't change with a snap, but with repetition. And you've already taken that step. You already have the tools. You already know the words. And most importantly, you're already more aware of who you're becoming. Now, the final part isn't an end. It's a new beginning. From here on, you have a choice. Either you let this content become just another thing you heard and forgot, or you transform it into a daily practice, a lifestyle, a personal commitment, because no one will do it for you. No one will enter your mind and replace the old words with these. This is your mission, your responsibility, and your power. You've already learned that money responds to your level of clarity, worth, and confidence. You've already understood that repeating power words like order, multiply, value, freedom, prosperity, and receive is a way to train your mind to live a different reality. Now is the time to continue this process with seriousness, strength, and love. Make these 30 words a pillar of your life. It doesn't matter where you are now. It doesn't matter your age, your current income, your past. What matters is the identity you're creating. And the identity of a wealthy person is built this way, with daily presence, with constant affirmations, with new decisions based on new beliefs. You're not the same person you were before. Even if the world doesn't know it yet, you already feel it. You already see signs. You already think differently. And that in itself is the biggest sign that wealth is already on its way. Now, here's the final challenge. Live those words. Don't just repeat. Live. Speak order and organize your home. Say expansion and do something new. Say power and make an important decision. Say value and no to what diminishes you. Say easy and stop complicating what can be simple. Don't wait for motivation. Act with discipline, because motivation fades, but discipline takes you all the way. And remember, no one gets rich just because they want to. Rich people become those who transform themselves into someone capable of sustaining wealth. And this transformation begins with the words you repeat every day. To conclude this journey, take a deep breath now. Close your eyes. Repeat after me, with presence, with truth. I am wealth. I am worthy. I am ready. I receive. I multiply. I live in abundance. Once again, I am wealth. I am worthy. I am ready. I receive. I multiply. I live in abundance. And for the last time, I am wealth. I am worthy. I am ready. I receive. I multiply. I live in abundance. Now, put this out into the world. Write it in the comments with strength and determination. This new version of me is rich, and it is she who guides my life from today on. And may every word spoken be a living seed, and may each repetition be a firm construction, and may each day be richer than the last. You're no longer at the beginning, you're on the path, and the path is what transforms. If you want to hear more content like this, click on the playlist on the screen. See you there.